Your CV is very, very inspiring, actually. Some would say it's intimidating, but I look at it as inspiring because I can see your face now. For you
Great.
to achieve this, and you're using one of my core values, excellence, I believe, to have been such a great achiever. It's a very inspiring CV to me. So I'll summarize it. I'll go ahead and summarize it. So Juliet was named by Forbes as one of the top 20 power women in Africa by the London Business School. Can you all hear me? Please, if you can hear me, can you wave or give me a heads up?
I can hear you. Good evening.
Oh, Dr. Osoro, good evening. She was named by Forbes as one of the top 20 power women in Africa. Juliet was also named by the London Business School as one of the 30 women changing the world. Been featured in the BBC Africa Power Women series and on CNN Innovate Africa. Juliet is a globally respected business executive. She's a thought leader and a leading voice on innovation, transformation, and leadership. Juliet is an executive coach and a member of the Forbes Coaches Council. It's my pleasure to welcome to our Zoom meeting today and talk about excellence.
Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. It's a real pleasure to be able to share this time with you. And I look forward to our time together this evening and the conversation.
Okay. You are also being joined by, I think, a former classmate from Ife. He is a member of our book club. His name is Sanif Yokorok. And I believe he will be wanting to connect with you after now. So I'll go straight to my very first question. What inspired you to write 30 Days of Excellence?
Thank you very much. So for a long time, actually, I've always been drawn to tools that can really help me navigate life better, understand myself better, and just that can help position one for success. And I've, one of my, deep goals is just really to be the best version of myself. And I've been very inspired to share this with others. And so in putting together the book, the idea was to provide concepts, timeless principles, nuggets that are tried and tested and that are known to work in a very simple, digestible form that people can have easy access to, and that can serve as a companion, a guide towards our journey towards, whatever we're trying to achieve. Everyone has, goals that they're looking to achieve. Everyone has, a picture in front of them where they want to get to. And the intention is to just have this collection of principles and concepts that act as a reminder and a prompt to really ensure that we are organizing ourselves and the world around us to help to move us from where we are now to where we desire to be.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love the word prompt. I love the word prompt. Let me tell you what happened today. In the morning, I put up a picture of myself reading your book. And one of the pages, it just jumped on my face. Like it practically jumped on me. I'm like, oh my God, how long will it take me to digest just these few words? And now the prompt to write my own journey, what I am going to do. That is the most powerful tool that you've given us in your book for me. That's what I took away, that I am going to take a few things from you, but the book also gives me a tool, somewhere where I can write my own journey, work on my own path,
Absolutely.
while I read from you. All right. So you call the book a companion set. Why is it that?
Yes, I call it a companion set because in the first place, it's a set. There are two parts to it, two materials. The first is what I refer to as the tabletop flip book, which is this. And it's just designed to be able to sit comfortably on your desk or, anywhere that is visible to you, and you flip it from one day to the next. And then the second material is a workbook, which in addition to the daily prompts, also has calls to action and spaces for you to write your own thoughts and reflections. So there's a lot of body of work out there. And the intention is that this is a companion set because it is supporting existing efforts. It's giving you some of those nuggets. It's acting as a reminder, a guide, bringing some of the cogent points, the things that really matter to the surface. So it's a companion towards your journey of self-leadership and transformation. And when I talk about self-leadership, it's just really the art of moving yourself from where you are to where you want to be, making sure that you are able to get the results that you desire in your life.
Okay, thank you. If you have any question for Juliet, please write it down or send it to the chat room. So, or just get ready because we will also open the floor so people can ask questions. I will break it down a bit, Juliet. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you've been able to use excellence as a tool to grow your career as a person. How did that happen?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that I've always been drawn to just look at things that can help me be the best version of myself. And I think we're all on that journey. And in terms of my background, my background is in engineering. That's what I studied, computer engineering. And, my work has really been in the technology space, in new media, in oil and gas as well. And I moved from a purely technical role into business management and then into general management and leadership. And something that has always been that has always rang true is just the fact that we all have immense potential, right? And I believe we all have dreams. And I think everyone deserves a chance at being able to accomplish those dreams and just really realizing our full potential. And that's why in my, a lot of my core work is really around, using technology as a tool for empowerment, to give people access to information that just really creates a level playing field and opens the door to opportunities. What we can achieve as human beings is infinitely more than the limitations and the boundaries that we usually impose on ourselves. And so, having these tools that could just, help us to open that door, right? And really move closer towards, realizing and fulfilling our dreams. And this is also a passion area for me. I've, run some, master classes, leadership development programs through an initiative I call Beyond Limits. And that's why this is also described as a companion set, because it is complementary to some of the existing body of work out there. And and it's great to be on this ongoing journey.
I want to ask you, what is that one question you get asked every time about structuring oneself for success? What is that one question you get?
Yes, it's a good question. Something that comes up a lot is just people saying, how do I get from, I have this goal, but it just seems so big. And how do I mobilize myself to get from where I am to that desired picture, to have my vision realized? And what I often say is, first of all, you need to clearly articulate what that is, which is really the essence of clearly articulating your vision. And that's covered in the book. Exactly. And even going as far as writing it. Exactly. And even going as far as writing it down so that it's not just in your head, because if it's in your head, it can be blurry, fuzzy, you can wriggle out of it. It's not really, but if you write it down, it's concrete as a first step. But also, to achieve anything, you need a plan. Otherwise, it's just wishful thinking, right? And so to actually then look at, for what I'm trying to do, what is the plan? What do I need? What resources do I need? Maybe I need to learn something. Maybe I need to push myself out of my comfort zone. Maybe I need help in another area, and so on and so forth. So having a very concrete plan with clear milestones. And what that does, because sometimes when you have that vision or big goal you want to achieve, it may seem daunting. And people end up procrastinating taking that first step because you don't even know where to start from. But if you create a plan, and a plan would usually have a series of steps, one after the other, and milestones, right? And in putting the plan together, you do some research to see what would it take to actually achieve this. What that does is it makes the first step a lot more accessible to you, because you're not trying to go from zero to hero. You're not trying to go from A to Z. Going from
Exactly.
A to B might be a lot easier, might be a lot less daunting, might be a lot more accessible. So having a clear plan really makes that more accessible. You can see the picture and you know the next step to take and then the next step. Also, one thing worth mentioning is I often say that motivation gets you fired up, but commitment is what keeps you going. And so
Yes.
sometimes what stops people from achieving the results that they want is because, at the point where you set the goal, and this is true for New Year resolutions, a lot of us have gone through that cycle. When you create that goal, you're all fired up, you're motivated. It's like, I want to achieve this year, I want to do this, etc. Right? But that energy of motivation is not sustainable. It's like excitement. You can't be excited all the time. It's not even healthy. At some point, you have to replace that with the discipline of commitment. And that's where some people also miss the mark, because you can't just rely on motivation, positive thinking, all that stuff. You need a clear plan and you need commitment to do the due diligence to achieve that plan.
I can see Dr. Agility joining from Abuja, and they're often soon joining from Calabar. Welcome and welcome and welcome. So I want to tell you one of the, I'm just breaking it down a bit.
Mhm.
I want to tell you one of the pages that spoke to me, spoke
I'd
to
love to
my
hear it.
core. Yes, three actually, but I'll start with one. And it says, attitude is belief in action. And I love the analogy of using the iceberg, that the visible tip of the iceberg is actually, what do you call it, your attitude. But the invisible bulb under is your belief system. What's your belief system? Because what people see is actually your attitude, but your attitude is embedded in your belief, really. And then you give us the side that we need to write down what are our beliefs and possibly our foundations. It really, really inspired me. It really, that was so
That's great.
clear.
Yes.
Butterfly, the larva, the egg, and the pupa. Funny enough, I studied chemistry, but I can still remember a bit of my biology. So
Yes.
but I got the pictorial, it was very pictorial. I was able to get it, very well. And
Yes.
I want to
That's
thank you
day
so much
7.
for bringing, yeah, for bringing it so, the picture really enabled me to connect with what you were saying and what I'm supposed to be doing, you know. So we'll soon open up for questions. If you have any question, please don't go away. Make sure you ask your question so the excellence queen can help you articulate and clarify your vision and goals for the year. Now, 2020 was a unique year, and it was fair to say we are not totally out of the woods yet. What do you think professionals and business owners can do to survive and thrive in 2021 and beyond? What do
Absolutely.
you think we can do?
Yes, that's a great question. And no doubt, 2020 was a challenging year for almost everyone, really, because it took us by surprise and it almost was like the ground shifted from underneath us. And we're seeing some of that actually still present in 2021. Now, we can't control necessarily what happens to us. And it's fair to say that external circumstances, society, these things actually do play a role in how we experience life. And to a large extent, we can't control the external circumstances. None of us could have controlled the COVID pandemic as a clear example and the impacts of that. However, there's something you can control, and that is your response to what happens to you. If we take the COVID pandemic as an example, people responded and organizations responded in different ways. And those who actually thrived through the time were either individuals or organizations that adjusted and adapted quickly, that were able to pivot, to understand that these are the new trends. Things are being disrupted in a certain way. There's changing consumer behavior. There's more migration online and so on, and it's creating these opportunities and being able to pivot accordingly, or just even having that mindset to just adapt to the reality of the time, right? And so what I would say to individuals and organizations as we go through 2021 is we've got to take a decision around what you want your 2021 to be. It doesn't mean you're devoid from external circumstances, but it gives you a chance at making the best of those external circumstances rather than just being, just surrendering to what's happening or maybe being a victim or letting events overtake you, being more in the driver's seat. And that requires, just clearly making that decision and, and creating a picture of what I want my year to be, which is really going back to what we were saying about having a clear vision, looking at what do I need to do? Where do I need to change to keep this vision alive? Perhaps I was thinking certain things will take a shorter time, but because of the reality of where we are now, it's going to take longer. That's okay. How do I adjust for that? Maybe I thought things would happen offline, but now they need to happen online, right? So to see where we need to recalibrate, right, and course correct to get us on the right track. More than ever before, when you have challenges in the external environment, you need to keep your vision alive because that is what energizes you. That is what pulls you. That is what helps you to look for workarounds and just gives you the motivation to keep going. And that's what I would really mention. And then I would also link back to something you said earlier about attitude. I think it's so critical, and this is covered in the book as well, the sorts of attitude that we have. One attitude that I talk about is an attitude of gratitude. That it's important, yes, there are a number of things that are not going the way we want, but can we look around and see things we can be grateful for? For example, if we take this pandemic, the fact that you are healthy, that is something to be grateful for because it's a health crisis after all. And there are a number of people that have lost their lives or have been really, really ill as a result of the pandemic. So the fact that we're healthy, that is something to be grateful for, right? So even having that positive attitude lifts you up and helps you to see possibilities and just keep moving. So these are some of the things that I would invite people to, to think about and how to position themselves in navigating 2021.
Okay. I actually like the last page and chapter of your book that says, "Where is my ship going?" The book, "Where is the ship going?" Write it down. Articulate where the ship is going in the next
Yeah. Yes.
Where who is steering the ship? There may be detours, but keep steering towards the prize. That also, there will be challenges during the year, but keeping that space for us to be able to write down if and when there are challenges, what will be our plan B and plan A. It's a very helpful tool for people to see and recalibrate their mind and reposition themselves if at all anything goes wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen in the house, if you have any question, I'll soon be opening we'll be taking questions so that we can soon finish. If you have any question, you can show by lift of hand so you can be allowed to speak. So, ma'am, If you could pick one lesson you would like people to take away from this publicly.
Well, they're also very linked, but I think I would go to day 4 of the book, which really talks about the fact that I just bring that up, which really talks about the fact that to live the life you want, you need to define it. Only then can you create it the way you want it. I think that speaks to what you were just talking about being the captain of your ship, taking responsibility for how you want your life to turn out. Because life is not a series of random events. Life does not happen by accident. If you look at all the people that have accomplished great things in life, in business, in their personal lives, in sports,
34, I think.
in any area of life, right? They usually have a very clear intention. They're very intentional and deliberate about, going for things, about what they want and how to get there. And so my invitation to everyone is that, it's important to just clearly, because whether we know it or not, we are creating our realities. You're either doing it consciously, where you're on top of things and you're setting the course, you have a clear vision of where you want to go and you're navigating life in that direction, or unconsciously, where you're just being blown by the wind, right? You're on maybe even on autopilot, and you're just rolling from one day to the next. And this period with the pandemic, where our structures have changed, it's so easy to find yourself rolling from one day to the next. Because for some people who are still working from home, in the past, you had very clear segmentation. You went to work, you were productive at work. Then you came back home, you did a different set of things. But now you're at home the whole time. So, your time is all meshed into one big hole. And if you're not intentional about what you want to accomplish, it's very easy that, down the line, you just realize, where did the time go? So it's very important that we're deliberate about going after what we want.
Yes, and that brings me to one of the values you talked about. That's you said self-discipline is the highest form of self-love, and that self-discipline is the inner strength that keeps one focused. I am taking that away. I am taking that away. Self-discipline is the inner strength that keeps one focused on a greater outcome. I am going to keep that on my table for a very long time.
Yes.
And the prompt also is allowing me to write the tool I will use to make sure that I am highly disciplined, and then I stay focused. Okay.
Great.
Is there anyone audience that would like to ask the question? Thank you. Yes. So someone has Linda Ogundu is joining and saying, I want to ask Juliet. Okay, so I need to take that question. I want to ask Juliet what her driving force in life.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Linda. Thanks for the question, Linda. What my driving force is. So I alluded to that at the start of the conversation. From a very, from as far as I remember, actually, I've always been drawn to wanting to be the best version of myself. I always had this feeling that if you perform below your ability, then you do yourself a disservice, because you're telling yourself and the whole world that you're not as good as you really are. And so you owe it to yourself to be the best version of yourself, to be the best you can be, that sort of thing. And for that reason, I have been drawn to any, sometimes it's training, it's books, it's materials that I feel can just help me understand myself better, understand the world better, function in the world better, etc. And I really want to make sure that my life is impactful. And I feel that we all really owe it to ourselves to live the lives we're really destined to live lives filled with purpose and lives that are impactful. And that's really, that has really been my driving force.
Okay. Now, Henry's hand is raised. Henry, you have the floor.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, Henry.
How are you? Permission
Good,
to
thank you.
permission to the audience to say Bodia here. Yeah. I'm just gonna keep it simple, Juliet. Your book, is it possible to have it in England? Any options of? So
sure. Yes, good to see you, Henry. Thanks for the question. It is available on Amazon, so you can order it from Amazon.
Oh, okay. Nice, good. I don't know how long for you started the discussion. I just log on now. You just starting or you've ended? I don't know.
No, we're still on it.
Because of the time difference,
we're still on it. Oh, okay. Okay. So, and if your Kurok has a question, can you see? So, do you think we make a lot of excuses as Nigerians, or are we faced with more challenges here than other times?
That is a very good question. It's actually a profound question. So thank you very much, Aniefio Orok. Well, there are many ways to look at this. Every area, every society has its challenges. And yes, I would say there are some challenges in this environment that may be more intense than what you find in other environments. But there are also some benefits within this environment over and above what you find in other environments, right? And so, it's whatever environment you find yourself, there are pros and cons. One classic example is our weather in this environment is a real bonus, right? When you compare this to environments where it's freezing half of the year and so on. Some of the infrastructure challenges we have, like power, etc., they're real and they're unique to this environment compared to some others and so on. So, but rather than focus on that, what I would invite us to focus on is, so that's the starting point. This is my environment and this is the reality. Where do I go from here? What do I do with what I am experiencing? And one of the conversations I've had often with, particularly with young people in Nigeria, is really around our belief systems, right? And it's important to really question that and see, am I allowing the environment to influence my beliefs in a negative way? So for example, if I have this belief that if I don't have a godfather, I can't get a job. Where that is dangerous is that it can prevent me from even doing the due diligence to find and get a job, because it's almost like you're defeated before you even start, right? But if you really unpack that and look at it, there are many people that have had phenomenal jobs without a godfather. Some of them even started from more humble beginnings than where you are starting from. And so it's important that we question some of these assumptions and belief systems that we have, which may be to some degree evidence-based from our environment, but which absolutely and ultimately do not always hold true. To just really question them and see if we can move from limiting beliefs, and I talk about this in the book, limiting beliefs which really bring us down, to more empowering beliefs which uplift us and just really energize us and help us to see possibilities. And there are so many examples of this, right? And it's an invitation to just keep making sure that we are conscious about what we're feeding, what we're putting in our mental space, and how we are seeing the world and engaging with the world.
Okay, thank you so much. The tabletop calendar and the original book, the real book. So a copy of this goes for 5,000 naira, and the tabletop goes for 4,000 naira. But if you're buying the two, He's selling it for 7,500. And trust me, I run a bookstore and I read a lot of books. This is a valuable tool in our hands, in my hand, to use to articulate my goals. It helps me really propel and see. Juliet, can you show us the tabletop calendar again? The tabletop planner.
The tabletop flip book. So
Yeah.
it just sits on your desk and you can flip it from one day to the next. That's it.
Okay, so that is 4,000 if you're just getting that. But if you get it, I like the book because it enables you to write your thoughts, to articulate your goals, and follow through. If you get both of them, it's 7,500. You get just that, it's 4,000. You get only this book, it's 5,000 naira. I'd like to thank you for coming to our book hangout today. It's a pleasure. You can see Busola
There's
has a
actually,
question.
yeah, I was just going to say, let's take Busola's question before we round up, because she posted it a while back. So it says, how do you balance everything and still show excellence in all you do? That's the first question. And the second is, what do you do to chill out? So let's start with the first question. I think it's important to, that's why it's so important to be clear about your vision, about what you want to achieve, because, you know, it's all about managing priorities, focusing on what's more important. And this is something that I cover in the book as well, about, you know, just our relationship to time and how we manage our time. I always say that time is the currency of life, because what you have, just the way you spend money, you can spend time. Just the way you can waste money, you can waste time. But time is that resource you can't put in a bank. When you lose it, that's it, it's gone, right? As our life passes, so does time. So it's very important that we're conscious about what we're spending our time, and that we are spending time on the things that are important to us. And it's really all about priority management, because we all have the same 24 days, in just the same 24 hours in a day and 365 days in a year. There's nothing we can do about that. What we can do or change is how we use that finite resource called time. I don't say time is limited, I say it's finite, because I believe that you always have time for what's really important to you. It's just a matter of, you know, balancing and planning and just being organized. And there are some tips that I would offer as well around just, you know, managing our priorities within time. One of the things, and these are just, you know, personal things that I do as well, just having a master list, which is a list of all the things that you want to do, right? Because it helps you to see at a glance what's in scope, right? And how you need to allocate your time. And in approaching that list, I would usually try to make sure that the most important things do get done, right? And the last thing you want to do is to, it doesn't mean you don't have free time, etc., but you don't want to have that, you know, a lot of the idle time, and then the big things don't get done. So that's a planning tool that I find useful. And also just looking at your patterns throughout the day. Some people are more effective in the mornings, some in the evenings, right? So actually maximizing your performance within the times that are that really work for you. I'm a morning person. I like to get up early in the morning. I feel my brain is fresh, and I'm in a space, a field, the field of technology, where things change very rapidly. And those early morning hours are very precious to me. They're times for me to read reports, journals, look at trends, you know, latest product enhancements, get on top of email, and just get a head start to the day. So that's something that I do. Another thing I'll encourage people as a time saver is just using technology. Today, there is hardly anything you want to accomplish that you wouldn't find a how-to guide online. Maybe you're trying to write a business plan. There would be a template or a how-to guide online. You know, whatever it is you're trying to do, you can get some material to give you a head start. You don't have to start everything from scratch, right? And, you know, just leverage the people in your life as well. Sometimes maybe you're not very digitally savvy. Instead of trying to figure out, what do I read? Just sitting down with someone for 30 minutes and having them show you the ropes, also gives you a head start instead of you trying to, struggle on your own to figure out, everything from scratch. So these are just some tips. Now to the second question about how do I chill out. I love music. I love to dance. And so, I do good salsa, if I can say so myself. I also, I write prose and poetry, and I love to travel.
Love to travel. Thank you so much. Sola, I'm sure your questions have all been answered. Do you have a role model? Do you think a role model is critical?
I've had different people. Yes. In the course of my journey, I have had different people that inspired me in different ways. I wouldn't say, that a role model is critical, because it's not like it's something like we should be on a mission to find role models. No, but in the course of life, I think, everyone now and then you find someone that inspires something in you. It could be just their approach to time. It could be how they dress. Like you see a certain amount of elegance that appeals to you. It could be one thing or the other. So, people inspire us in different ways. One of my biggest inspiration, one of my biggest models, I would say, is my late mother. She taught me courage. She used to have this saying that it's not the life that matters, but the courage you put into it. And what she meant by that was, it doesn't matter what happens to you, but regardless, put on a cloak of courage and keep moving on. And I saw her demonstrate that courage through different challenging situations while I was growing up. And she was such a strong, resilient woman. And I learned a lot from her. So definitely, people shine the light for us in different ways.
Okay. Thank you so much, Juliet. It's really a pleasure speaking with you. Our time is fast spent. I want to tell everyone that you can watch it again and I have seen Anefio Korok's hand is up and his hand has been up very well. Anefio, can we take your question? Is the one that told me we also finished with that. Anefio, can you hear?
Yes, okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good evening, Juliet. This is Anefio Korok.
Hello.
I don't know whether you remember me. You were in computer engineering with Dipo and Filate and the rest of them.
Correct.
I was in Lexilect, so we only met a couple of times, and I think I remember you from visiting your room quite a number of times. You had these very interesting Akwa Ibom ladies who were in your room, I think Moremi then at some point. And I always tried to invite you to fellowship, but you always had another function you had attended and just come back from it. So, but I see a quite different Juliet today from the Juliet I knew then. She was a bit reserved. She was more bookish, very focused on her books. But now you are not just thinking about, you're writing a book, and there must have been a long journey. I can hear you've spoken about your mom, the influences she had on you. But beyond your mom, I'm sure there are other influences that has made Juliet to transform from the semi-bookies, geeky Juliet to the public speaker you are today. So let me know what happened in between to make you who you are today. Thank you.
Thank you, Anefio. Good to see you. And that's a very interesting comment/question. What I'll just say is that life is a constant process of learning and growth. And the key word there is growth. And, part of the, premise for this book, 30 Days of Excellence, is just really about tools to help us continue to grow. I think what's important is that if we look from one year, from one year to the next, that we see that we've actually grown. And it's good to see that your experience of me reflects some level of growth. That's my life's journey. It's a constant process, and it's one that we're all on. And there are tools and principles that can really help all of us on that journey.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Sorry, follow-up question then. Line, what's the next thing on the horizon for Juliet?
That's a good question. So my focus this year, in terms of, well, there are a number of things. As you probably know, I currently run our business at Google, our sales business across West Africa, and we're doing a lot of things to impact the digital landscape and just to empower people with technology. And there are a number of things planned this year, so that's a big focus. And then in terms of 30 Days of Excellence, it's really, as much as possible, spreading the word, right? My goal is to be able to reach, ultimately reach 1 million people with the book and the material. And it's complementary to other bodies of work, like masterclasses that I run through Beyond Limits. Later this year, I'm going to be announcing, and it'll be announced on social media, an excellence series, which would be a 30-day session, which would include a few webinars, some instructional videos, and just communities coming together to practice, share learnings, etc. We had the 6 weeks transformational series last year that was very successful. This year, we're going to make it 30 days, and it'll be anchored on this. So that's another conversation, another support system that everyone is welcome to be part of. So you'll be hearing more about that, in the coming weeks.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And incidentally, people have joined all across Nigeria. We have a representation from practically everywhere. We will email you the link to watch this recording again. Email and have that sent to you. Don't forget, a copy of 30 Days of Excellence, 5,000 naira, and is available from our store. We'll be very happy to send it out on Monday, and then the table that just see what you want to do. And the combo is 7.5, but each of them that will be 5. Thank you so much. I'd like to tell you all have a good evening. Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone. This has been a great conversation. It's been great to see some old friends as well. Thank you for joining this, and it's been a real pleasure. Have a lovely evening.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Busola, yes, I can post it to Lagos. It's 24 hours. Takes just 24 hours. Next day delivery. Please DM me your address, and that will be sorted. Thank you, Busola, and all the Monetize Your Knowledge community. Thank you for coming, and Boldoz Book Club community. Thank you so much for coming. Bye-bye for now. Bye. There's no raised hands, so I have copies of the tabletop calendar and the original book, the real book. So a copy of this goes for 5,000 naira, and the tabletop goes for 4,000 naira. But if you're buying the two, he's selling it for 7,500. And trust me, I run a bookstore and I read a lot of books. This is a valuable tool in our hands, in my hand, to use to articulate my goals. It helps me really propel and see what I am trying to achieve in my own book first. So if you need a copy of this, we'll be very happy to send it to you. And this is exclusive of shipping fees within Nigeria. So you get two. The combo is the tabletop and this book for 7,500. But if you're getting just this book, it's 5,000. If you're getting just the tabletop calendar, Juliet, can you show us the tabletop calendar again?